FSA question 81. Which of the following banks is more cautious and risk averse? Bank number 2 is the answer. नहीं क्यों नहीं? Because they were giving a lot of compensation, above average compensation to its top managers. So what? What this states? They are being given equity based compensation. ये point है, but that is not relevant over here. कि they have maybe less cash, but point is when they are given equity based compensation, they will be basically taking more risk to get the share price increase. So it is going to be a risk seeker approach rather than risk averse approach. So B gets ruled out because when they give them equity, they would like to take more and more risk so that the profits will increase, share price will increase, and hence they will gain. So from that perspective, B was not the answer. प्रश्न में बोला short short B नहीं, okay good. हाँ, और short short क्या आंसर है? हाँ, what is short short answer? C short short bank 3 जो भी होगा bank 3 short short बैंक में क्यों नहीं? ये तो नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है? What is restated financial statement? So अच्छा ठीक है, let's talk about banks 3. Why do you think it is risk averse and cautious? It is loss पर हाँ इक्विटी बहुत है. कैसे पता चला? अच्छा खासा ये कैसे पता चला इक्विटी बहुत है? Is fast to provide for losses. What does this mean? Fast to provide for losses. They don't wait for the actual event of loss to happen. They record the loss in advance only. That is conservative wala case. That is like cautious wala case. Ki they don't want to wait for the actual event of loss to happen. They record the losses in advance. So that is like cautious. And what about this? They rarely record large asset write-downs. Why is that so? What is asset write-down? So isn't it something which is bad? It is good now. The assets are because they already provide the loss. Their assets are carried at a very low value. And that's the reason impairment का chance कम है. Those companies which record the asset at a high value, they have more chance of impairment. अगर मेरे asset के value on the balance sheet is already lower, then there is less chance of impairment. So this means that they are recording assets at its low value. Low value again means cautious. Take a note of this. If the company records the asset at its high value, if the company records the asset at a higher value, then there is a higher chance of impairment. Lower chance of impairment means that the assets were recorded at a lower value. So it is similar to the thing we studied in level ना कि आपको अगर starting की years में low growth दिखाना हो तो आप asset का value ज़्यादा करके depreciation ज़्यादा करते हो. मतलब कैसे लेना वो WD वजह का ही हो गया ना. So take a note of this point importantly. एक सेकंड पहले सबको समझे तो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. If a company के assets are recorded at a high value, मतलब वो लोग expense कम करते हैं, capitalize ज़्यादा करते हैं. They record less expense and they capitalize more. Then what could happen is अगर आगे जाके वो asset से उतना benefit नहीं आ रहा है, then we need to record that asset down. We need to record the impairment loss. So the company which record lesser expense shows more capitalization, creates more assets, and then more chance of impairment. But ये company के impairment less है, मतलब ये company assets ज़्यादा नहीं दिखाती, ये company ज़्यादा expense दिखाती है. More expense, less assets, and less impairments. So more expense का मतलब है it is more cautious, more conservative. But what's wrong with the A? It recently restated its financial statement owing to financial reporting internal control failures. Where is cautious about it? If they would have been cautious, then wouldn't have been internal control failure. So that rules out A option. Clear? So A and B was easy to reject. A was easy to reject because of cautiousness not being there. That's the reason there was an internal control failure. And B because the managers are getting equity, so managers will be taking more risk. So it is not going to be like risk hours. They are going to be taking more risk. And not check the answer, but I believe it is going to be bank 3. बाद में करूँ क्या? Check. ठीक कर लेते अभी. मुझे लगा I'm confident, but I not check the answer. बस. A करें नीचे जाओ. C. It was an easy question. Yeah, someone was asking.
So what you do for the manipulation net income and depreciation?
So there are two things. One is you record expense, so you don't capitalize. There's no fixed asset, there's no impairment. Or second, you don't record expense, you capitalize, and then because there are no future much benefits from that, you get to impair it down. This company is following the previous approach. They are recording more expense, less fixed assets. So there, as a less fixed asset, there will be lesser impairments. So that is what cautious is about.